Okay, think about the last time you walked somewhere, even just down the street.
Mm,
Was it just, transport, getting from A to B, or maybe something more was going on?
that's a great question. And it's exactly what we're diving into today, really drawing from the wisdom of Wayfarers.
Right.
We're looking at how this simple thing, walking, can actually have this really profound impact on our bodies, our minds, even our souls, you could say.
And I think for you, our listener, someone who really values getting deep knowledge, but, efficiently, this is going to be packed with some surprising stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll dig into how walking taps into this deep physical smarts, how it gets us thinking differently, how it can be a real personal journey, and how it connects us to each other, too.
And to really kick things off, there's this line from the book's prelude. In the beginning, there was the step.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it just sets it up perfectly, doesn't it? Walking is this like fundamental human thing
Yeah.
baked into who we are.
Okay, so let's unpack this first part, the body's wisdom. The source mentions we've sort of forgotten how smart our bodies are.
Uh-huh. Like a modern amnesia.
Yeah.
We're so often inside in climate control or, lost in our screens.
Right. Disconnected.
Exactly. And walking is presented as a kind of remembering,
Hmm.
a way to reoccupy our physical selves,
Hmm.
to wake up that inner sense, proprioception.
Proprioception, that's our body knowing where it is in space, right?
Precisely. Like, think about walking on an uneven path in the woods.
Yeah, you're not consciously thinking, okay, lift foot higher here, ankle there.
Exactly. Your feet, your legs, they're constantly adjusting, feeling the ground. Is it soft? Is it rocky? It's this constant, subtle conversation happening through the soles of your feet.
A conversation between body and earth. I like that framing.
And it's not just touch, is it? The source points out walking engages so much more. You start hearing things differently, the leaves
And
rustling.
your vision changes too, right?
Mhm.
More peripheral awareness.
Yeah, you're not just laser focused ahead. You're taking in the whole scene, smelling the air, maybe damp earth or pine needles. It's multisensory.
It makes you feel less like a detached observer and more, well, part of it all.
Right. It mentions Maurice Merleau-Ponty and his idea of the flesh of the world.
Okay.
The idea being that through this embodied act of walking, the line between me and the world gets a bit blurry. You feel the air on your skin, the ground beneath your feet. You're participating, not just watching.
So, in an age where we can feel pretty dissociated, walking is almost like a revolutionary act, an act of presence.
That's a powerful way to put it. It really anchors you in the here and now, in your body, in this moment.
And this isn't just a philosophical musing, is it? The source talks about walking meditation, kinhin, from Zen Buddhism.
And Thich Nhat Hanh's beautiful phrase, walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet.
Wow, that shifts it completely. It's not just moving, it's a conscious connection.
Yeah, profound awareness in each step. And physiologically, that kissing is real. Our feet are packed with nerve endings firing signals to the brain.
An ancient system, it says, predating language.
Exactly. It's this deep, embodied knowledge. Walking consciously sort of reactivates it.
So walking really shows how interconnected our body and mind are. It pushes back against that old idea of them being totally separate things, Cartesian dualism, right?
Precisely. That mind-body split just doesn't hold up when you experience walking this way. And the rhythm itself, it's not random.
How so?
Well, it affects your heart rate, your breathing, even your brain waves. Studies suggest it can shift brain activity into patterns that are better for integrative thinking, for creativity.
Like the classic image of the philosopher pacing back and forth while thinking.
Exactly, the peripatetic stroll. It's almost like walking is a way of knowing, an epistemological act, the source calls it.
A way of knowing. It quotes Rebecca Solnit saying, walking is how the body measures itself against the earth.
And that measuring goes both ways. We leave our mark, however faint, and the earth marks us through our senses. It builds this intimate connection.
It's so true. Knowing a place by walking it, it's completely different from just driving through or seeing pictures.
Totally. You feel the hills, the textures underfoot, the way the light falls. It's lived knowledge.
Yeah.
Embodied.
And that applies to cities too, right? Learning the shortcuts, the sunny spots, the quiet routes.
Absolutely. You understand the city's character through your feet, through your body moving through it.
And this links back to David Abrams' idea, the reciprocity of the senses.
Yeah, where the boundaries soften. The source connects this to indigenous views too, seeing ourselves as part of a living community, not separate from it.
So the big takeaway for this section is walking isn't just movement, it's communion with yourself and with the world.
Well put. It's foundational.
Okay, so we've got this body wisdom. Now let's shift to the mind's journey. The link between walking and thinking is, well, ancient, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Aristotle in his walking school, Socrates apparently did a lot of thinking on his feet. Rousseau saying he could only think well while walking.
So what is it about walking that helps the mind?
The source suggests it creates this state of soft fascination. The rhythmic, almost automatic movement occupies the body just enough.
To let the mind roam free?
Exactly. It frees up cognitive resources, allows for wandering, making those unexpected connections. Insights often pop up when you're not trying so hard.
Yeah, you hear about that all the time, those aha moments on a walk. Nietzsche believed all great thoughts were conceived while walking, didn't he?
He did. In Einstein's daily walks, Darwin's thinking path, the sand walk, the list goes on.
Is there a neurological basis for this?
There's speculation. Perhaps the alternating rhythm helps bridge the brain hemispheres, promoting more holistic thought. The mind gains momentum. Thoughts flow more freely.
Interesting. And just the act of moving through space and time, that must engage philosophical questions too, right? Presence, passage.
Definitely. Walking becomes this embodied metaphor, the path ahead, the horizon, reaching a crossroads. These aren't just abstract ideas anymore, they're lived.
It makes abstract concepts feel tangible. Like impermanence, you can grasp it intellectually, but feeling autumn leaves crunch underfoot.
That gives it a visceral reality.
Yeah.
Or free will versus determinism, you're literally choosing your path at every turn.
Right. And navigating a path with others brings up the whole problem of other minds in a very practical way.
Uh-huh. The source mentions Nietzsche again, how his hikes in the Alps informed ideas like the will to power, striving against resistance.
And Thoreau. His walks weren't just strolls, they were experiments, testing ideas against reality.
Yes, that great quote, how vain it is to sit down to write when you have not stood up to live. He walked conquered into his bones, into his philosophy.
So walking grounds philosophy pulls it back from pure abstraction.
It acts as a vital corrective, yeah. Anchors thought in a living body moving through a real world.
There's another philosopher mentioned, Kotaro Nishida, and acting intuition.
Right. The idea that genuine knowing comes through doing, through embodied experience, not just sitting and thinking. Walking is a perfect example. It's know-how gained through the act itself.
So it leans towards a philosophy of immanence, finding meaning in this life, this body.
Exactly. Rather than seeking something purely transcendent, even the limits you encounter, walking, fatigue, terrain, they become part of the experience, part of the knowing.
You learn about your own agency, but also your dependency on conditions.
That tension, yeah. It's a constant negotiation.
So the mind's journey while walking is this active, dynamic thing, thinking with the body.
Thinking through the body, you could say. A holistic process.
Okay, let's transition now to the soul's pilgrimage. Walking as a spiritual practice. This feels deeply resonant across cultures.
It really is universal. Think of the Aboriginal walkabout, Native American vision quests, Buddhist monks on their alms rounds, Hindu pilgrimages, the Camino de Santiago in Spain.
It seems like a common thread is this element of surrender. You can't control everything on a long walk. You have to accept vulnerability.
That's key. The source uses the Camino pilgrim as an example. The physical demands, the unpredictability. They strip away your usual defenses, your constructed self.
And that allows for something more authentic to emerge.
Often, yes. It facilitates a more genuine encounter with yourself, stripped bare, with others met along the way, and maybe with something larger, something sacred, those moments of illumination the source talks about.
And this spiritual side of walking isn't just one thing, is it? It can be quiet, contemplative.
Like Kinhin, yes. Or it could be ecstatic, like the Sufi dervishes. It could be a form of prayer or simply communion with nature. Very diverse.
And sometimes it's about physically enacting a story, like the Stations of the Cross or the Hajj pilgrimage.
Exactly. Walking is ritual embodiment, making the sacred story physically real through movement.
What strikes me is how accessible this is. You don't need special gear, just attention, intention.
That's its power. It's fundamentally human. The source suggests it helps restore right relationship.
Right relationship. With what?
With ourselves, by integrating mind and body. With others, met at a human pace. And with nature, encountered not as a backdrop, but as a living presence.
It reconnects things that feel fragmented in modern life.
Yes, and that holistic connection can help us see problems or challenges in a new light, solve them more integratedly.
And the metaphor of the path itself is so central in spiritual language, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Eightfold Path, the straight and narrow way, the Tao. It's all about the journey the process.
Walking embodies that constant movement, always arriving yet never quite there, as the source puts it.
It mirrors that continuous process of spiritual becoming. It teaches balance, adaptation, resilience, what Alan Watts called the wisdom of insecurity.
So the soul's pilgrimage is about this inner journey facilitated by the outer one.
Precisely. Finding the sacred in the mundane rhythm of walking. Discovering depth in the simplicity of a step.
All right, now for the social stride. Walking with others, how does that change things?
Well, think about group pilgrimages again. Sharing that hardship, that journey, it forges incredibly strong bonds. Social differences tend to fall away.
There's a unique dynamic just walking alongside someone, isn't there? Different from sitting face to face.
Very different. It allows for comfortable silences, for more reflective conversation. Less pressure, maybe.
You think of all those thinkers and artists who walked and talked, Socrates and his students, Wordsworth and Coleridge.
Darwin walked with his colleagues, too. It seems to foster a certain kind of collaborative exchange. The source mentions Martin Buber's I-thou concept.
Creating a space for more authentic connection.
Potentially, yes, where people meet less as roles and more as individuals.
And walking has been used for reconciliation, too, hasn't it? Peace walks, border walks.
Yes, powerful symbolic acts. The shared physical effort can mirror or even help the process of bridging divides.
And then there's the overt political dimension, walking as protest.
Hugely significant. Gandhi's Salt March, the civil rights marches like Selma to Montgomery. Walking becomes a powerful tool for collective action.
What gives it that power?
Its visibility, for one, and its vulnerability. A group walking peacefully in public space makes a strong moral statement. Think of refugees, mourners, protesters. Their physical presence speaks volumes.
It connects to cultural traditions, too, right? Parades, carnivals.
Definitely. Creating that sense of communitas, that shared public joy or solemnity. Intense community spirit.
And the source brings up how villages used to be designed for walking, how that shaped social life.
Right. You naturally encounter people in your daily movements. The shift to car-centric living changed that profoundly.
So building more walkable communities isn't just about health or environment. It's about rebuilding social fabric.
That's a big part of the argument, yes. For social well-being, civic engagement.
And in our digital age, walking together feels important, a counterbalance. Physical presence matters.
It really does. We saw that during the pandemic, didn't we? Those distanced walks were lifelines for connection.
So the social stride is about affirming community, connection, shared presence, resisting isolation.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we're social creatures, meant to move through the world together.
Okay, finally, the eternal return. Walking as homecoming. This feels like we're getting to the core.
I think so, too. It frames walking as returning to something essential about being human, connecting us to our deep evolutionary past.
Our basic walking mechanics haven't changed much since, well, forever, right?
Pretty much since Homo sapiens emerged, it's fundamental. And many people report feeling more human when they walk regularly.
Like it wakes up dormant parts of ourselves.
Yeah, physical, mental, maybe even spiritual capacities. It mentions David Abram again, the attentive animal body.
Recovering that sensory intelligence.
Exactly, that direct, embodied way of being in the world. It brings us home to the more than human world, reminds us we're part of it, not separate.
A return from the illusion of separation to the reality of connection.
Well said. And it also returns us to a more natural rhythm of time. Slower, more patient, against the rush of modern life.
It cultivates the patience needed for deep experience.
And it's a return biologically, stress reduction, better mood, stronger immunity, all those physiological benefits.
Psychologically, too, creativity, memory, focus.
And perhaps most profoundly, it's a homecoming to presence, to the present moment, quieting the noise, anchoring attention right here, right now.
It reminds me of that T.S. Eliot quote, arriving back where we started and knowing the place for the first time.
Yes, that fits perfectly. Walking is pilgrimage, the outer journey serving the inner one. The rhythm holds space for transformation.
And the ultimate gift, it says, is dissolving that self-world boundary, experiencing interconnection directly.
That's the deepest layer. Like the wave, realizing it is the ocean. It's not finding something new, but returning to our essential nature, remembering.
Wow. So wrapping this up, it's clear walking is so much more than just putting one foot in front of the other.
It's incredibly multifaceted. It shapes our bodies, sharpens our minds, nourishes our souls, connects us socially, and brings us home.
And thinking about you, our listener, interested in profound insights with professional relevance. This understanding feels really applicable.
Absolutely. Thinking about your own well-being, finding space for creative thought, even building better relationships at work. Understanding the power of walking can inform all of that.
So the invitation is really for you to consider. How could more mindful walking fit into your life? What might emerge personally or professionally?
Yeah, what could you discover? And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If every step is a return, a homecoming,
Hmm.
what new understanding of yourself and your world might the next walk bring?
Something to ponder on your next stroll? Reflect on your own walking experiences after hearing all this. Until next time.